Hi, Scott Seaton here, music director of the North State Symphony, and we are here for the second evening of a special couple nights of Just Asks and premieres / wash parties, where it's part of our month-long youth celebration, and we are delving into all the great things that that are happening in the North State for our youth, and all the things that, of course, the North State Symphony is involved with. From supporting musicians in the symphony to our side-by-side concerts and a lot of other things that we're doing and hoping to do in the future. But tonight is special because we have two very gifted young musicians, extraordinary young women who worked their way up, and they'll tell their stories, worked their way up through the MTAC Youth Orchestra, and now we're doing great things. But without further ado, I'm going to welcome Forest Wong and McKenna Reale, and we're going to chat about all things music. So here we are. Hello, everyone. How are you all?
Doing good. Thank you so much.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you both. And so let's just kind of jump into, well, first of all, I want to thank our sponsors, KRCR, for allowing these or making these Just Asks possible. And so to start by, I really want to know when music entered your lives and how did you eventually come to the instruments? And I know violin was a big part for both of you, but how did you eventually land on violin? But first part is, where did the music come from for you, Val?
For me, I don't remember exactly how 4-year-old me heard violin, but somehow I heard violin somewhere, and I'm the only strings player in my family. So I told my mom, "Mom, I really want to learn how to play violin," and she said, "Why violin?" And I said, "I don't know why. I just really want to learn how to play violin." And so she found a teacher for me, and when I was 5, I started taking lessons. And so I've taken lessons ever since. And so I started on violin and still play. But it's been interesting being the only strings player because it feels like it came out of nowhere, but it's been I've really enjoyed learning the instrument.
And Forrest?
I think music has always been a part of my life because like when I was really young, like a baby, my mom would play the piano around the house, and my brother had piano lessons and he would play. And so I was kind of introduced to the piano through them, and I guess through the MTAC through that too. And I would attend MTAC concerts where they would have violin players, chamber music, and then when I would see like the older kids playing violin in a chamber music group, I thought, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I want to be like the older kids and play violin. So that's how I picked that up around like 5 years old.
So you both have quite a long backstory, and you both were part of MTAC, the Music Teachers Association of California, and the Youth Orchestra through Butte County. When did that experience start for you both? And can you tell us more about your years with MTAC?
I joined the orchestra when I was in the orchestra for a semester in 5th grade, and then I rejoined in 7th grade. So I played from 7th grade through my senior year of high school, and so it was a really great experience, and it was just so fun to basically grow up and go through all of middle school and high school with the same group of people, all in the same district.
Yeah, I joined the MTAC Youth Orchestra like pretty soon after I picked up violin. So I basically grew up with my fellow musicians in the MTAC Youth Orchestra. So yeah, that was like a really big part of my life.
And what are some of the memories, like the most fond memories you have with your years with MTAC and with your wonderful conductor, Yoshie? Does anything in particular stand out?
I have really fond memories of the MTAC summer program. Yeah, every year there'd be a summer program where, like, it's either the youth orchestra, advanced orchestra in the MTAC, or in Chico, or like other people from like Paradise or Roseville would come in, and we'd all put together a program. And it was like, I felt like it was really beneficial to my learning because they'd invite teachers who were not from Chico and had different musical experiences, and they'd give their input on our performances.
And McKenna?
Yeah, very similar for me. Every year, every summer, I always looked forward to the summer program. It was just so much fun to get to spend time with the people in my orchestra for a whole week. And I remember they'd always have a 4 o'clock and a 7 o'clock concert on the Friday of the program. And so the concerts would always run long. So I remember just like eating like a huge slice of pizza in between the two concerts, and it was just so fun because you're just like running from one performance to another, and it was very chaotic but also very fun. So it was just a really neat experience.
I see. Just to remind everyone who's watching, this is part of our Just Ask series. So if you have any questions or comments for any of us, especially Forest and McKenna, please feel free to join the chat. We have a comment from another violinist, Andrew Swords. Violin rocks. Thank you, Andrew. Great to have you here. Longtime soloist with the North State Symphony. So the next thing I want to talk about is with MTAC. One of the things we started since my tenure with the North State Symphony, we started doing side-by-side concerts. And what I think is great about that is it gives young musicians a chance to perform alongside a professional symphony and really get experience that not a lot of young musicians or a lot of young aspiring musicians necessarily have. I mean, when I was growing up, I can't even remember if I actually heard a live orchestra in high school, and I certainly did not play with one. So perhaps you guys can tell us, about that experience when you went through this process of joining the North State Symphony for the side-by-side concerts. And McKenna, you have a different part of that as well, because you actually auditioned to be a student musician with the North State Symphony. So for your, I believe it was your senior year, correct?
Yeah.
For your senior year, you were actually one of our own musicians, but also played that year in the side-by-sides as well. So you have sort of both perspectives. So what can you guys offer for what that experience was like? What was rehearsing these pieces throughout several months, and then jumping in with the symphony in the last week, and then performing for the North State audiences and sharing your talent with them? What was that all like for you?
I think for me, it was more than anything, it was just an increase in scale, like a massive increase in scale. So we would go from playing the pieces in our small youth orchestra, and I would think, oh, this sounds great. I'm so excited to perform this. And then I would get with the entire symphony and just be kind of amazed at just like the scale of everything, especially with the percussion and with the brass and the winds. It was really neat to be able to like experience that all at once. And it was like this immersive experience. Mm-hmm. And I think I grew to appreciate that even more, being like part of the violin section, performing in other concerts as well. Just that it's almost like you're an audience member, but you're playing, but you feel like you have the best seat because you can hear everything that's around you. So I really liked that experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, I totally agree with McKenna. Like, when you rehearse the pieces with just the youth orchestra, there's almost no way to anticipate like how it would sound with the full symphony, and how like um almost um magical that type of feeling is when you get to hear a piece at full force. Um, I for the first time that we played with the North State Symphony, I was sitting in the second uh, violin position,
Mhm.
and for the second time, I was a concert master. Um, and those two experiences were like completely different. I felt like, because I felt that the second time around it was like way more nerve-wracking, and but it's still exciting. Um, it's kind of like um, it's kind of like driving a car for the first time. Like when you're behind the wheel, it's so exciting, and you can't believe that you're doing it. But at the same time, you don't want the car to crash. So yeah, I felt like a level of responsibility that second time around.
So you said you played twice. You didn't play any time before that in any side-by-sides?
Um, but actually, I think I played another time before that, also in the second violin.
Okay, okay. 'Cause I think there was at least maybe forget what the piece was, but I think it was it might have been Gershwin something. um, but yeah, then you both did Coriolan in 2019 in May, and then Forest, you were concert master for the Marquez Danzón No. 2, which you mentioned was a little bit more intense, a little bit more pressure, because you had some solos in that piece. So that's the extra layer of responsibility, leading the whole orchestra that way. um, so, and I'm for everyone watching, I'm excited to revisit those pieces that they both played in. This evening at 7 p.m. we have Beethoven's Coriolan premiering on both YouTube and Facebook. And at 7:15 we have the Marquez Danzón No. 2, which was part of the last concert that the North State Symphony did 1 year and some change weeks ago, right before everything shut down. So really special to experience both of those pieces again. And the Campfire actually gave an extra layer to the Beethoven Coriolan, because Campfire happened right as we were going to perform that piece in Chico, and we had to cancel. And fortunately, we found room in our May concert in 2019 to keep the music going, to allow this, because Beethoven is more powerful than anything else. And it was so great to have that come alive, and to be able to experience that with you both and the rest of the orchestras. So that'll be a really special experience. And now you both lead extraordinary lives, to say the least. And we've sort of talked about the past. And so if we could just jump into the present for a second, you're both theoretically college students, not in Northern California, although you're both there at the moment, but world pandemic being what it is. So tell us a little bit about what you're both doing now and how music is currently fitting into your lives. McKenna, why don't you start?
Okay. Yes. So I am currently a sophomore at Harvard College. I study human developmental and regenerative biology. I'm also getting a minor in global health and health policy and French. And yeah, so I am also as Scott mentioned, I'm in Northern California right now because of COVID. But as far as music goes, I took my first semester of college, which was the only COVID-free semester, unfortunately, of college that I have had so far. I knew I was moving so far from home, and I just wanted some time to get acclimated before I join new activities. So I actually, unfortunately, didn't play in an orchestra, but I have played in a piano trio with a few friends from the North State that I actually did the Summer Music Academy with. So we're working on that at the moment and doing it remotely. But I'm really hopeful to join an orchestra when I get back on campus. Hopefully this fall. There's so many orchestras to choose from at Harvard, and so I have a few friends who are trying to convince me to join their orchestra instead of like sway me one way. So I think that would be really fun to be part of that on campus.
Absolutely. And Boston is such a gold mine for orchestras. I mean, there's so much music going on. And I of course, did one of my degrees in Boston and loved every minute of it. So I really hope that you get to experience all that both Harvard and Boston has in terms of musical offerings. And I'm really excited for you. And Forest, what is your, tell us about your current situation, which I know is a bit different because you're in your freshman year, which means that you probably haven't even been to your school yet. So tell us about that.
Yeah, that's true. I am currently a freshman at Columbia College. And I haven't declared a major yet, but I plan on majoring in visual art and concentrating on business management. Mm-hmm. And I was planning on auditioning for the Columbia Orchestra, but I think they canceled the audition, which was supposed to take place in September. Mm-hmm. But I think they're this coming September gonna have an audition again. So hopefully I can get that in. Other than that, yeah, I haven't had much time for like playing in any music ensembles. And yeah, hopefully in the fall I can join the orchestra. Yeah.
And again, so many opportunities where you are, and I hope that you get to take advantage of all that that is offered in that region. So, but for now, you've been able to make music on the local level and stay active on things going on in the North State. And of course, you and your family are big supporters of the North State Symphony, and we greatly appreciate that. But you and I want to point out for us that you have been very active, not just as a player, as a young musician in the North State and especially Oroville, but you actually just won an award from the Student Research Foundation for the impact that you have had in the region. So if you could just tell us briefly about that, and congratulations, that's amazing. But tell us what entailed that. I mean, how do you feel like you have impacted Oroville, and what steps did you take to make sure that music is still thriving there?
Yeah, so in 2016, my brother, my friend David Chang, and I co-founded a nonprofit organization called the North Valley Into Music Foundation. Mm-hmm. And we basically perform at different local events, restaurants, senior homes, and we also raise money for local music programs in the area. Mm-hmm. And we also, with our foundation, have created this music event in Oroville called the Dream Big Music Concert, mm-hmm. Where different school bands in the area come together and promote their music, and hopefully get younger kids to pick up an instrument.
That's great. That's great. I also want to point out, so you mentioned visual art, and you've also been helping out and been doing some with that. Tell us about the mural that you were just involved with, and where people can find that.
Yeah, last summer I made a mural for my parents' restaurant called The Union, and that's located in downtown Oroville. And it's like a pretty big mural. I forgot the exact dimensions, but it's based off a Renoir scene, so it's kind of in that impressionist style. Mm-hmm. And if you go down to the Union, you can eat some good food and check it out for yourself.
Absolutely. Come to the Union, check out, and I haven't been yet, but it's on my list because it just looks amazing. Beautiful, beautiful outdoor area. It looks very, very lively. You all have a lot of local music go through there. So it seems like a very energized place to go visit and have a good meal. So I can't wait. And now I want to, this is interesting because, last night I had to just ask with a couple of pianists who, want to make music their focus in their life. You all are special because you were super focused on music growing up, and especially through high school. But now you both have spread out and done so much else. And what I want to ask is, how do you see the role of music in your futures? Like, where do you see it? Maybe the instruments you play, or the role you want to take in, say, 5 or 10 years down the road, or even further out. McKenna, let's start with you again.
Yeah, I think for me, it's something I would always love to be involved in. So I love playing in orchestras. So wherever I decide to move when I'm older, I would love to be part of a local symphony there. And I also, when I was in high school, I picked up the French horn, and I played in the marching band. And so,
really?
Yes. So I would love to actually take French horn lessons at some point. And I learned the instrument up to the point where I could play all the band music and play in marching band, but I never was a really amazing French horn player. And so it's something I love the French horn, and I also love violin. And I feel like I haven't gotten as much time to invest in French horn as I would like to. So that's something I would actually love to do. It's just such an underrated instrument in my opinion. So I would love to keep playing both instruments.
Super impressive. The French horn is such a difficult instrument, and for you to have two very, very difficult instruments is something to be commended. So, and Forrest, how do you see the role of music in your future?
For McKenna also played the French horn 1 year for the summer MTAC program.
Oh, really?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think music will always be a part of my life. Currently, I actually have like this, it's not really a band, it's kind of like a musical. I have this thing with my friends where we get together and play music, but we're not technically a band.
Are you a collective?
I guess so. I don't want to call us a band yet, but yeah, I still plan on like playing music with my friends, even just casually, yeah, in some way. And I think that's kind of easy to do with piano, and if I get my violin friends together, play something.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I know you both have barely decided on majors and whatnot, but what do you see yourselves doing in the future professionally?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Uh,
I I'm still figuring that out, to be completely honest. I came into college actually thinking I wanted to be an applied math major, so I've taken a lot of math classes, and then kind of changed course and decided to be a biology major. So I feel like I'm fairly early on in the process of like exploring life sciences and starting to do research. And so, yeah, I could see myself working really in anything in life sciences. I've given some thought to going to medical school or just doing research. So I'm still open to a lot of other possibilities as well. But yeah, still very open to a lot of things.
okay, fair enough. No, don't be in any hurry. And Forrest, what do you envision yourself doing in the future?
As a visual art major, I am also open to a lot of things. But I think my big goal is to be a art professor at some point. Yeah, I'll have to get my master's degree and do that. But yeah, I'd like to teach art.
Awesome. And do you have do you both envision a particular place that you want to be? Or is it just too early to think about?
I really love Boston, so I could see myself staying there. Yeah, I could see myself moving to a bigger city.
Okay. And Forrest, where do you envision yourself?
I'm really not sure. I have only been to New York like once.
Really?
For a couple of days. Yeah. So yeah, I really haven't had that freshman college experience. It's really just like stay at home and do work.
Well, maybe you'll avoid the freshman 20 then.
Yeah, maybe
Or is it freshman 15? It's been too long since I've been a freshman, so I forget. But yeah, there's so much going on in New York. I hope that one of the first things you're able to do is just go to like Carnegie Hall, go see some opera, some music, just take it all in, because there's so much happening there. So yeah, you're both between California and the East Coast, just cultural meccas, and I'm so envious that you get to spend a lot of time there, or you will get to spend a lot of time there. Before we close today, I just have a few random questions for you all. First of which, just music related. Do either of you have a favorite composer that you like to play or listen to?
Ooh. I think it's changed. It always changes, and I go through seasons of having a favorite and then seasons of not having a favorite. But I love Brahms. I would say probably
Okay.
Brahms.
Good choice. And
I've
Forrest?
always been a Gershwin fan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Any particular piece of Gershwin, just out of curiosity?
Preludes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep,
Preludes.
that's great.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. I'm actually hoping to record one of the preludes sometime soon. So it's such fun music, and of course, my instrument says that I have to play a lot of jazz anyway. Okay. My next question is, what music do you listen to outside of symphonic, orchestral, art music in general? If we were to look at your playlists, what would be on them?
I love rap music. I listen to lo-fi music when I do
did
homework.
not expect that. Any particular artists?
I went through a very hardcore Drake phase.
Okay.
I like rap music in general, mostly like female rap.
All right.
More my thing. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, Forrest, are you going to shock us?
That's so interesting to learn about, because I never talked to McKenna about music outside of orchestra music. So yeah, that's so surprising. I'm a really big Lady Gaga fan.
Yes.
Yeah, Lady Gaga, she's my jam.
Great. And you all saw Andrew Sword stop by. I don't know if you remember him, but he played with the symphony a couple times. He's a huge Gaga fan as well, and I think has seen a few of her performances. He's even slipped a a couple of her tunes into some of his encores, which have been hilarious. So Forrest, you should chat with him about that. And my last question for you all is what hobbies do you have outside of music? What do you do that just is sort of meditative for you, that you can just get away from it all? What would that be for you? What's your outlet?
I love hiking. So I try to go for a lot of hikes, and it's a really great like quarantine activity. I also love embroidery. So I've been learning how to be better at embroidery and sewing. So I love sewing, like sewing patterns and making projects. It's something I grew up doing. So
interesting.
It's really fun.
Now I have to ask, while you're sewing or embroidering, are you listening to Drake in the background?
No, I'm probably like watching Netflix at the same time.
Maybe that's my next question. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. Forrest, what is your outlet outside of music, and maybe even outside of art?
Oh, outside of art, I really like playing tennis
Really?
with my friends. Yeah, in high school, I was on the Orville tennis team.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but mostly like what gets me like to that meditation, cool down state is like art, oil painting, charcoal.
Nice.
Stuff.
And McKenna had mentioned Netflix. Is there something that either of you have binged on recently that you want to share with the audience?
I lived with a few friends for the first part of the semester in Arkansas, doing remote school, and we started watching Money Heist. So now that we're all home, we've been doing like Netflix parties on Zoom. So we watch an episode of Money Heist every Friday. It's been really, I've never watched that show before. It's been really fun to watch.
Money Heist. Okay. I don't know it. I'll have to check it out. Forrest, are you?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, please go ahead.
It's in Spanish, so you have to watch with English subtitles if you don't speak Spanish. But it's a really good show.
Okay. And Forrest, has there been anything that you've binged on recently?
I am currently watching Grey's Anatomy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
I
How is it for you?
Don't know what. It's it's pretty good. It's not bad. A lot of it like just goes over my head. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's like every episode is jam-packed.
Interesting. Yeah, it's one of those shows that I've been hesitant to start because I feel like I don't have the time to really get into it. So I might have to try it, and Money Heist as well. So thanks for the recommendations, both of you. I also, there's been so many things that I've stormed through in the past year. Notably, Queen's Gambit and Dark have been two of the most interesting series that I've watched. But of course, Netflix is full of great ones. So I just want to thank you all for taking a little time to share your stories and your experiences with music in the North State, growing up with the violin and going through the MTAC system and playing alongside the North State Symphony. And as far as the viewings that we have this evening, the Beethoven Coriolan and the Marquez Danzón No. 2, are there any specific memories that either of you have about either of those pieces that you would like people to listen for? Forrest, why don't you start this time?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, hold on. Okay. I don't know if you can really listen for this, but I really remember the walk up to the stage, like before the piece even started, where, I just walk and then bow to the audience and then face the symphony. Because in my mind during that moment, I was just thinking about, is my back straight? Am I walking weirdly? Is this is this the bow that I should be doing? Is this a good bow?
It's
That's what I
interesting.
was thinking about during that moment.
That's interesting, and you touch on a long list of traditions that symphony orchestras hold, and the role of the concertmaster is such an important one at that, and tuning the orchestra is a big responsibility, and you did wonderfully that whole week. So thank you for your work in that time. But yeah, it is a lot to remember. It's a lot of steps and protocol, and is your back straight? Are you presenting the right thing, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's interesting to hear you talk about that. And McKenna, is there anything that stood out for you? I guess the Beethoven Coriolan.
I think I remember being very anxious about counting the rests right, because there were some moments where I was always just terrified of being the only person coming in at the wrong time. So I just remember just like gluing my eyes to the music and just having to be very careful that I didn't come in at the wrong time.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that's one of those iconic pieces that that the rests are as important as the sound, because there's so many moments where he writes nearly, if not more, entire bars of rests, and the audience is just it's on edge, because most of the music is very, very intense, and especially being in C minor, starting out with this monotonous, forceful unison chord, and then that really magical driving rhythm, at the same time very mysterious. But I remember from that performance, and people will hear this tonight, at the end when the opening theme comes back, there is one of those moments of rest that Beethoven sticks in, and the audience just starts clapping. And it's like, well, it's not over yet. And then we kept going, of course, but the whole thing just kind of disintegrates and dies away, and is left with this lonely line in the low strings and the cello, and then just these magical full body pizzicato from all the strings, and then it's done, it's gone. So yeah, both pieces that I remember very, very well. Loved performing with you all. The Marquez has always been a favorite of mine to do with any orchestra. And hopefully it wasn't too scary for us with all those solos that you had inside.
It was a good type of scary.
Yeah. It's good to harness that nervous tension, because it makes our performance, our collaboration, that spirit, all the more exciting. So once again, thank you both for sharing with us this evening. Thanks to everyone who tuned in to hear the incredible stories of these amazing young women, Forest and McKenna. And we hope to see everyone at the premieres / watch parties at 7 p.m. So you have a little bit of time to take a break. At 7 p.m. should be Beethoven's Coriolan on both Facebook and YouTube on the North State Symphony pages. And at 7:15, be sure to catch the Marquez Danzon No. 2. So until we can all be safely in the concert halls making music together again, and until McKenna and Forrest can safely be in college, we hope everyone stays safe, happy, and healthy. And I hope everyone has a great evening. Thank you again, Forrest and McKenna. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.